Rich?
Coach, congratulations. Great win.
Thank you.
What sparked these guys tonight to beat this team the way you did, and your playoff hopes all of a sudden, well, they never really went away, but just helped you even more?
Yeah, I think I've said all along, and I've said it after the wins, and this team is fighting, and it really believes, and it has a real desire, and maybe we haven't put games away. You know, we've had this 1-0, like the Vancouver, we got the goal, and we want to get over the line, and then we give away. This team is learning all the way through, and I understand we want wins now, but I felt it before. I think we probably felt the derby was even, but we had an opportunity to win it. You know, that we've had those games at Yankee Stadium where they've been on a knife edge, and we've always been the team that's gone and taken it, and we didn't. And I spoke to the team on Monday morning and said, we haven't had a lot of fortune and a lot of luck this year. And maybe the moment when we played at 3:30 and then everybody else went and the table didn't change was a huge opportunity for us. And I felt the team almost came alive a little bit there to say, you know, maybe that was our little bit of fortune. The table stayed the same, and it was a huge opportunity tonight, knowing that everyone had to play again. And I thought from the start, maybe we weren't so good with the ball, but we were really aggressive without the ball, and we were really organised, and I thought the team executed the game plan against a good team really well tonight.
We go with Leo and then Joe.
Coach, congrats on the win. Thank you for your time. Obviously, Tallis has been a conversation going on all season long, and tonight Richie gets hurt and Tallis comes in quite early in the game compared to the previous ones. What was the initial plan for him for the evening? Were you planning to put him in at some point in the second half? And just your evaluation of his performance coming up with that goal and man of the match as well. Thank you.
Yeah. One thing I will say is I'm so happy for Tallis. I'm so happy because he deserves a moment, and he deserves to be the guy that gets us over the line, which he won us the game tonight, because the second goal really settles us down. It's what we haven't had in games before, when we might have gave away, you know, a 1-1 tie. Or he's worked incredibly hard with Kleberson individually, with the team. He's doing extra work. He's just really wanting to be that guy, and I think tonight I was going to bring him in. I think as coaches we always reflect on moments, and guys like Tales, and we have guys like Julian Fernandez and those guys that can be the difference. You know, they're team guys, but individually they have something different. And my reflection of the derby was, you know, maybe I should have put him in earlier. Maybe he would have been the guy, and we went with Julian, and he had moments. But I'll always believe in Tales and always think that whatever the stage of the game, if he has enough time, he can have a moment. He's really good in the air. You see that tonight. We see this in training all the time, and he's got the dribble and I'm a massive believer, and I say this to Tales all the time. If he works hard, and he consistently works hard, and he commits himself all the time to this profession, he can do whatever he wants in the game. And he's done that consistently since he hasn't seen the field, and he hasn't seen the field just purely because it's a competitive squad now. Tonight, I said to him, I hope I'm on the broadcast, because I said to him when he came on, I said, you will score. Because you can't work this hard and it not pay back. And when the ball pops up, he's really good in the air. And as soon as it comes up, I see this in training all the time, he can get the power and the direction like a lot. He's almost Tati-esque in the air. So he got the moment, he got the goal, and he won it for us. And I felt the emotion in him, and in the dressing room there. This is a special team, because the boys in there all shared the moment with him, and they're so happy for him.
Joe?
Two things. One, the status of Richie, and, you take another hit in the midfield there. And then two, is this the kind of game just you needed as a confidence builder against one of the better teams in the league to just instill that extra something going down the stretch?
Yeah, Richie's fine. He has to be scanned if it's bad. They think it's just a slight ankle sprain, so he'll be okay. It's strapped. I thought he done well tonight, Richie. I've really challenged him to be a guy that can be the difference for us. He's a real, he has that European quality, hence why he's on loan from PSV, and I thought he was good tonight. Losing him early gave Tales an opportunity, and I said after the Minnesota game, I was so deflated after the Minnesota game, because I really believe this game is the Minnesota game, and the picture looks completely different. But our season has gone the way it's gone. The one thing we haven't seen change is the commitment, the belief, the desire, the togetherness. And, I want to win football games. I want to win consistent football games, and I'm completely convinced this team is going to go and win a lot of football games. I understand we're not winning it now. But the one thing that you cannot bottle for a team is what this team has. Yeah, okay, we've missed goal chances and we might have gave crazy moments like the penalty straight after Vancouver. But the one thing this team has is an incredible togetherness. And moments like this are only going to help us. I say to the boys in the dressing room, though, this means nothing if we don't go get 3 points against Toronto on Saturday. In the situation we're in, the team that puts a run together will give themselves a real chance. And, we're unbeaten in 4, 2 clean sheets. We've got to make sure we consistently continue to score goals. And, we score more than 1 goal. The way we defend, I believe we'll win football games.
Chris, and then Andrew.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win. Tonight, Orlando saw most of the ball, had about 60% possession. That's not something typically the way that NYCFC plays. Was that something that you saw in Orlando that you wanted to play without the ball? Was that something that you kind of wanted to just change the way that the team has been approaching games in general, or was that something kind of just happened the way that the game just went on?
Yeah, I always look at the stats. I said before, I'm not a massive stat guy, but I always look at the stats because of where we are in the sense of results. The stats dictate a lot of what the reality of the performance was. I would be interested to see if it was 60-40 throughout the game. I think it was probably around 50-50 at half-time. Second half, we sat a bit too low in the first half, and I was trying to get the team up. I don't think that's the tactic. I think that's almost like a protection mode. The team's 1-0 up, and, we're a risky team in the way that we play, and I'll be honest, the result is more important than the performance, and the boys think that. So we might have gone a bit more direct, less risk at times, and as this team grows in results, we'll play football here because we have against many teams and teams as good as Orlando. And I think ultimately the end of the game is we get the second goal and they start throwing the ball direct, and I think it's natural when you're a team that hasn't had so many wins and you know how critical the win is. It's probably more important to not give away mistakes and silly goals, and we'll grow as a team. If you say to me the next 4 will be 60-40, but we win 2-0, I'd say I shake your hand now. So, this team has played well this year. We just haven't won enough football games, so I think that's natural. We didn't set up to be direct, but one thing I will say is this Orlando team is a really good football team.
Andrew?
Hi. I wanted to ask about Andres Jason. You guys brought in a couple wingers in the summer window. He's been sort of competing for minutes with new players and existing players throughout the season. What have you seen from him throughout this year that sort of kept him sort of maybe above the likes of Fernandez and Alonso Martinez for now in terms of still starting on the right while Pellegrini's suspended? He got the assist tonight, obviously, and he scored not too long ago as well. So what have you seen from him this season that's kind of kept him sort of fighting for that starting spot and in that mix?
Yeah, I think there's 3 parts to that. I think we have got 3 wingers. I think I've said previously, Alonso Martinez is just not ready yet, and he understands that. And the one thing he is doing is pushing really hard. I think the opportunity to be on the bench is there because we're losing some players, and he also has earned the right to be on the bench. Alonso, he's working really hard. He just hasn't played since May, and we're in such a critical period that we haven't got any opportunity to run guys. Tonight with Pellegrini out, it was Andres Jason and it was Julian Fernandez, and I think I've tended to go with Julian off the bench because you can see the quality that this guy has. He's going to be a really good player for New York City Football Club. I went with Andres tonight purely based off I knew our press was going to be really important, and Andres has been here. He understands the pressing philosophy we have. He understands the strategy that I wanted, and I thought they pressed the game really, really well. Orlando actually caused a little problem in the first half that we didn't expect. They dropped the right full back really low, so we couldn't get Santi out, and they killed us on that side. And when I changed it a little bit and brought Richie out, and we went 4-3-3 in the press instead of 4-2-3-1, we managed to get a grip of them. So I went with Andres tonight. I think the third part of Andres is, I said previously that me and Andres have banged heads in a constructive way, because I see the talent he has, and I know the talent that he had. He was an incredible talent at academy level and at youth national team level, and he just hasn't really got going. And I think when you go 19 and 20, you then start. You're not a young player anymore. You're just a player now, and it's your level. And he wanted more opportunities. He had them at the start of the year, and then he you see a guy that has a huge desire to play, and we've rolled him. And I thought he was good in the Montreal game. He got the goal. He's got real 1v1 ability, Andres, and we have to explore that. There's 2 moments in the game today that I'm sure I'm going to be talking with him, because they're great opportunities. One in the first half in the box, and one in the second half where he works the shot and gets a corner. This is his bread and butter, and if he can kill in these moments, he is an incredible talent, because his 1v1 is probably the best in our team at going 1v1 against a defender. It's going to be a straight shootout between him and Julian. Matti Pellegrini also is in there and is a different sort of profile. For us, it's going to be about form now. We have four games left, and it's about who's got the form, who can add to the team, and who ultimately is going to fight for the team on both sides of the game to make sure they play and, just make sure that we win football games.
And final one, we'll go to the Zoom. Scott?
Hey, Coach, good talking to you again. Right now, very quietly, you've gotten 8 points in the last 4 matches, now for the second time this year. Talk a little bit about Matt Freese's involvement with that, having started the last 4 himself, and any correlation you feel between the two of them. Thanks.
I don't know if there's a correlation in winning the games. There definitely, I have to give him praise. That's 4 games and 3 clean sheets and a penalty. He hasn't conceded a goal in open play. The one thing I will say is we don't lose the game against Red Bull from his save. It's an incredible save. And tonight he commands the goal. I've said before, I'm still not saying he's the number one. He's got the shirt and he's in form. Luis, I praised Luis earlier in the season, and Luis is frustrated because he wants to play. And the one thing I can say about those 2 guys is, of course, it's really important that they play well in the goal for us. But the one thing I can't say enough good things about is when either of them have been out the team, they train really well and they both back each other up. And I've said before, of course we want to win football games, and of course we want to play a really good style. But I'd be really proud of the team if I was a supporter, and I am as the head coach, that this team has had so many bumps and so much challenge, and this team is still unbelievably together in the locker room, whether you're in the team or out the team.